Now, if you have not saved our cartoon brushes yet, or if you need to still open them, they should be hanging out in your user defined. If you have not loaded them, I did give you the file, and there is also a video that shows you how to install them. It takes around 2 or 3 minutes. It's a very, very quick process, and then you'll be ready to go with your brushes. So we are on a new layer now. Let's just zoom in. Now keep in mind we still have quite a bit of overlapping, and some of the stuff is going to be modified a little bit as we start adding in the thicknesses for our lines. That will change some things here and there, but for the most part it should be okay. Okay, let's go. Let's just start right back up at the top. I've got, for the most part, this whole thing is going to be done with our selection tool. I'm going to select it. Let's just kind of go through the process. I'm going to look at those edges. So I'm going to look at point here. Since they're both floating and spaced, that should be a good little signal that says, hey, we should use our tapered on both ends one. You may or may not be able to see this in the video. This one might be easier to see, where it's tapered on both ends. Next, I'm going to be testing out. Now I have, just so you guys are aware, I have both directions, so I have a taper in both directions on my palette. And I'm going to go pretty thick with most of these. I would say around 2 or 3. And that'll totally depend on what format size you have for your artboard as well. So if you went bigger than I did, no biggie. It's just going to be, your brushes are going to be a little bit different. Alright, that's touching. Let's go. So this one's the opposite. It's basically fat on both ends, and then it's a skinny in the middle. Good. Let's do the same brush. These guys are going to be tapered. And if you can see them that they're going to be pretty much the same, I would just go right at it. Kill two birds. Click. I want this to be fat over by the elbow. Perfect. I was trying to do the math on how many times I get it wrong, and it's a whole lot. So there's a lot of times where you're just going to be clicking until you get the right one. How it's determined is which point you clicked on first. So that's why I did both directions, because it's way easier to do it that way. Oh, let's go. Nope, other way. Fat, skinny. So notice that it's anytime it's touching, that's when you want it to be fat. This is just kind of a rule of thumb. Another little thing you can be looking for is these overlappings. We're going to come back through and delete all of the overlapping. So what I'm looking for is I just want to make sure that these corners are kind of going through and going past things. That'll just simplify a whole lot when we do our cleanup. Good. I'm just going to keep that one pretty straight. And then do notice everything still is a stroke. So I still have all my points. So if I need to extend anything, I don't like how it's playing out, I can always modify. So this is a good time to do that too. Let's go fat on both ends. Now for the guns, on the demo version I did, pretty much everything was pretty consistent. I didn't do any taper for the most part on the guns. Select, select, select. Select. Leave that for now. I want that to be tapered by the thumb. Other one. Okay, looks good. That one's going to be a taper. Taper, taper. I want it to taper inside of the mouth. This whole thing is going to get black inside of the mouth, so that's not going to matter as much. Let's do the easy ones. Click, click, click. Let's just flip those back. I want that to taper in the middle. And as you guys are doing this, if you have your own personal preference, feel free. Have some fun with it. Depending on what kind of cartoons you kind of grew up with or you're watching and things like that, a lot of the times it'll determine kind of what your style is for the lines here. Oh, let's go fat, skinny. And I want these to be pretty close. They don't have to be exact. Taper, taper. That's a little much. I might keep this one pretty standard too. This one I'll taper. We'll go fat to skinny. Perfect. So notice how everything is starting to get black up here. Let's go fat. This will probably do it. Oh, same one. I want those to taper by the wrists. Okay. One worked, one didn't. Let's do our taper and just see what those look like. That's good. I'm going to take black arrow, grab this one. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to shrink this back down to 1, and then I'm just going to shrink this one up. Just go right into the black abyss here. I like it to have a little bit of a cheekbone. Alright, now we're just doing our little checks. Now for the little gun belt here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these all fatter. You're like, alright, looks good. I have no idea what shotgun shells look like, but that'll work for me. Alright, so we are just checking to see if all the thicknesses are where we want them to be. Double check to see if we missed anything. Okay, I'm going to take this point Oh, and I want this one all the way over here. Good. So basically the gun's going to have to go behind something. Uh-oh. Okay, let's have some fun with these two. And I still haven't made up my mind yet. So I'm going to select them. I want these a little bit fatter. I'm going to come over to my stroke panel, click it, and there's this fun little cap. Right, just go click round caps, and then we have magical Mickey Mouse gloves with pistols. That's probably not how it's supposed to be. Alright, we are at another save check, guys. Save. We hit it. So at this point, so before we keep moving forward, and this is just kind of a little double check here, is one, have I done all the lines that I want? That would be kind of a good thing to check. Next thing, notice that we have all these kind of overlapping. Some of them, if they're floating or if they're not connecting, or if you see any little weird gaps, that would be a good time right now to kind of go back through. You can simply come in with your, I would go direct select and then select points and just use your arrow keys, and you can just keep moving them until you're kind of happy with where they're going. Alright, so for at this point, I say we're good. So I'm going to do it. Feel free. I keep duplicating. You'd be amazed how many times I go back. And so this is just a way of me kind of saving each step. Because then I save it, I delete it, or I go to sleep, things like that. And then I can go, oops, I wanted to fix something, and then I have all my steps saved. So I like that. Just so, oops, something happens, I have everything saved, and then it's where we want it to be. Okay, so one, this one's safe. These are all my strokes. The new one, I'm going to select everything. Okay, and this is sometimes why you guys like saving that last version where everything is still a stroked. Because what we're going to do right now is we're going to expand. We're going to do it again. Just hit OK. And all of our strokes should be now wonderful shapes. I'm just going through and just checking. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you the process, and this is where I just zip through it because it's kind of a mundane process, and it doesn't really take a whole lot of time, but it's just boring to watch because it's the same repetitive motion over and over and over again. So this is what we're doing. So we have all of our fun little overlapping. Now we're going to come in and say what's in front, and I'm just going to zoom in so you guys can see everything. So first, black arrow, select it. I'm going to go Shift E. Notice my eraser got selected. And I'm just going to delete anything overlapping that I don't want. Click on it. Get rid of. So notice that there's all this still hanging out here. As soon as I click off of it, easy peasy. What I'm looking for is that nice, clean, are all my edges where I want them to be. The other little thing is just kind of think about it before you do it. What's in front? What kind of tapered line do I want? That's going to go behind the stem. Select it, Shift-E. Select it. And if you ever want the eraser to get smaller, I'm using my brackets, and that'll change the brush size. Brackets are next to the P key that we've been using. That's going to follow right along to our nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed through all of this, and then when we are at the guns, I'll kind of come back and then we'll crank through it. The guns are a little bit more confusing, so we'll do all the easy stuff first, and then we'll come back. All right. So for the most part, everything's pretty well cleaned up. I might still be tweaking a few things here and there, but let's start doing all of the pistoles. All right, so let's just zoom in. And a lot of times when you just click on it, it's pretty obvious on just the easy parts that you don't want. Okay, so that's going to come in. Let's select this one. Now I'm going to bring these guys, I'm going to hold shift just right there until I figure it out. Get rid of that overlapping. Okay, that's going to go behind the hand. That's good. Let's get rid of you. Get rid of you. So this right through here, let's select this. This will be the gun barrel. So that's going to go. I'm going to save. Okay, I'm going to stop them right there. I'm okay with that. It also helps that I have no clue what a gun looks like, so totally going to be a lot more keen on just saying okay on this one. I'm going to say I want the finger to be in front of this one, by the way. So I'm going to go Shift E. Let's get rid of that guy. Good. This one is almost done. Okay, good. I'm not super excited about those right now, but that's okay. Let's keep going. Keep on moving. Focus. Focus. Alright, do the easy ones first. I want to get rid of that. Let's select our little wrist. I'm going to grab that one and just bring it out a little bit. Okay, that was easy. Shift. That's going to hide under the butt here. Let's grab our circle. Let's just clean up those little edges here. This is all going to get erased under the fingers. That's going to get covered up. Keep on going. That's going to go behind the thumb there. I want the inside of the gun to show there. Alright, let's see if I can do it. So this is just, if it happens, nice, wonderful learning experience, right? Select Select. I think I want this to go up. Just seeing how I like that. Is what it is. So I want all, for the most part, this whole thing to go. I want this whole thing to go. Okay, looks good. Let's get rid of that guy. Just see if there's any of that curve in there. I want that index finger in front. That can get rid of there. Good. Let's do the little circle. Everything on the outside here. Get rid of those overlaps. And keep in mind, as we were doing the scissor tool earlier, you could have easily just done that. If you wanted to clean everything up during that stage, you'd be more than welcome to do it. Alright, let's do this last little bit for the eyeball here. And then we are done, guys. Well, at least we're done with the inking part. Now we get the color. Okay. I'm going to do blob brush. I'm going to shrink this guy up. And I'm just going to fill in that little hole. Okay, so all we are doing at this point is we are double checking, triple checking. So things we are looking for is just our lines where I want them to be. Is there any weird gaps, anything like that? I say we are good. So I'm going to do the same thing. So this is where everything is separate. I have 1,000 copies, and I'm sure you guys get what the next step would be. So I could duplicate this. Let's just call it a day. I am going to select everything. Everything is already expanded, so I'm going to come over to my Unite. I am going to unite all of the black, so that just merged everything together. Next, I'm going to come over and drop down to Live Paint, and we're going to go Make. You're going to get these fun little boxes, and now we are ready for wherever he's hiding. There you go. Live Paint Bucket, or K, by the way. Sometimes it's hiding under the Shape Builder tool. So while black is up, let's just kind of zoom in the areas that I already know I'm going to do. I might do right here. For the most part, there's not a whole lot of black. I know what. Those are the ones I forgot. Gun barrel. Gun barrel. I might fill those out black. It seems like a lot of those like little holes, that might be a good little thing to fill in. But other than that, most of it's going to be colored. Actually, let's do our little sights. You're going to notice that it highlights red, so that you know that, hey, I'm going to be coloring this thing in. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to get all of our flat color down. So we're done with cartoon brushes. Let's switch over to our swatches. And you're going to notice that there's kind of the red. This is just the one that's literally next to the black. That's kind of the default version. I'm going to use that one for our red color, and then I've added some different shades to it. And if you have not used this tool before, it just makes our life super easy. I'm going to fill in everything that I think is red. And I'm going to clean this up later. So yes, I know that that filled in red. And that looks red. That's going to be red. Okay. Next, I'm going to fill in with white. White, white, white. Green. Alright, let's just do gray for the gun. We're going to modify a lot of this later. So this is just kind of getting flat colors down. That's not what I wanted to do. And I'm just getting flat color down, but you guys could totally be picking lights, darks, things like that. So if you know, hey, this part's going to be darker, this part's going to be darker, you guys could be putting that stuff in right now too. Okay, but we're going to be adding all that in later. Oh, gun belt. Man, let's go maroon. Sure. What do you think? I think, let's try orange. It's something. It's something. I'll still go back and fix that, but for right now, we are just double checking that I have filled in everything. Okay. I'm going to select it. Object. Expand. Keep in mind, we can do this as many times as we want, so none of that is permanent. Now, before I start doing all of the colors and tints and shades, what I want to do is I want to ungroup. Usually 3 is the magic. Yeah, alright. Okay, so I am going to select this. Let's come over to our handy knife tool. And I'm going to come right through there. So notice that I have it selected. Now I can come in. I went all the way through, by the way, and I'll be able to color that white. I believe I needed to do that over here on the cusp. Let's zoom in so you can see it. I'm definitely going to change that color of the belt for sure. Alright, knife tool. Let's just do a nice little curve right through it. So notice that it's selected, and notice that I'm going all the way through. And I'll click it, and I'll go white. Okay, we have a chili pepper. Let's do, so we have that. What I'm going to do is duplicate it. And that's just so when we start doing our knife and doing all of our kind of our shadows, that we have a kind of a base color underneath. That usually will prevent little weird lines from happening. So on this layer, let's just lock that guy out. I'm going to come over to my magic wand. I'm going to select, and I'm going to basically Control X. We are getting rid of all of the black, and I'm just bringing that. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Control F. And let's just lock that out. So that layer is just the black now. So now we're going to start cutting everything up. So this middle layer looks like this for right now. So I'm going to still have our black just so we can see it. But now we're going to start cutting stuff up. Okay. So let's just say, so here is our light source. It's going to be coming from that angle. So let's just do our shadows first. So let's do our red. Then body. That's connected. Okay, good. Let's just zoom in so you guys can see what's up. So I'm going to do knife. Now knife is just an alternative to doing the Pathfinder over here. So a lot of our beginners, this is not a fun process. So this guy does the same thing, and all we have to do is that, and we did the same thing. So I think it's easier. Alright. Dark. Look at how easy that was. Select. I'm going to pop back in kind of the highlight, go right into the elbow here. So notice I'm going way out here, and I'm coming all the way out. Come in and select, bring back in. Looks good. Knife. I want most of that backhand right into the knuckle. Hold shift. I say for right now that's okay. Keep in mind, this is just to get them down. We can always modify. So that's what's really, really nice about this process. Nothing is permanent. And then I'm going to say the gun is casting a shadow on the top right here. Okay, good. Let's keep on cranking. Let's do some easy ones. That'll have a cast shadow to it. Now this one's going to go step up, which means that one's going to go 2 steps up. So since that one's farther away, we're going to start creating some depth here. We can also do the same thing. Let's just say armpit here. A little bit more of a cast shadow there. So we could do that everywhere if we really want. You can go hog wild, to be honest with you. Let's just go right above the eyebrows here. Okay, select, select, select. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Back to the knife. Now I'm going to put a little cast shadow right into this cheek. I'm going to go right on this side as well. And then I'm going to have a little fun, and I'm going to say he's got some bushy eyebrows. And these are going to actually be casting a bit of a shadow. So notice that I did overlap those, by the way. And then whenever we're doing these, you might get these little floaters. So just double check that there's no little stragglers in there. Good. Color, color, color. Let's do the same thing over here. It's going to go real dark right on here. Deselect, come on back, go a little bit darker. I'm just going to see if I'm going to test that out. Just see if I like it. Alright. Next, let's do some more white. Just selecting everything right now. And then it's going to swoop down. I'm going to come through here. And let's say the eyebrow is casting a shadow on the top there. Looks good. I'm going to say the lip is casting a shadow on the top right there. Then it's going to come down. And then let's say it's going to come down right through there. Deselect. Holding down Shift. I just want that to have a little shadow to it. We're moving along, guys. Alright, let's do... I want there to be on the bottom here. Down through the stem. Let's just see what that does. Okay, that's darker. Just grab that one. Let's go darker. It looks like a thing. It looks like something. Alright, let's do these gloves. And notice I am going pretty slow with this process. Let's just say that this is going to cast a shadow. And for the most part, that pinky is going to be pretty well in the shadows. Just come on back. Alright, now let's just say that this whole butt of the gun is going to be casting a shadow on the gloves here. Bring it on over. Alright, I'm going to select, and just because we want to get really fun, I'm going to say this gun belt, our bullets, are going to be casting a shadow down. So we're going to come back over, select that guy, one stage up, grab these two, one stage up. So notice that we have multiple shades and tints and things like that. That's just so we can kind of start playing around with it. And if we don't necessarily like how it plays out, we can always go back and just color it back in. Okay, good, good, good. Let's do some guns. Let's bring it. Okay, that's dark. Now when we start doing all the shades here, that's going to be all dark. Some things might get a little bit darker. So depending on where we are in our process, I might go darker. I might want this guy to get darker. Let's select. I want a nice kind of circle on that one. And I'm going to go the opposite on that. I'm going to go lighter. Good. Let's select that one. Same thing, just for the top. Kind of a nice little rounded. That'll be a little highlight here. Bing, 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 bing. Now some of this you could really play around, like, hey, do I want that to be black. Do I like it? Do I not like it? So you can kind of play around with it. Just kind of see what it does. Some things it'll really recede, so that just depends on, is that what you're looking for? Alright, good. Knife tool. Let's go a little highlight. Come over here. Do our nice little circle again. And the knife tool will try to give you some sort of nice curve. It's not perfect. So if I was going to be really highly picky, then yes, I would want to come in and do Pathfinder, but for a beginning demo, I think it serves the purpose quite nicely. Okay. I will say save. And now we're going to get into, I'm going to just go new layer. And this one actually could be right on the other one. But this is going to be our gradient. And we're just going to do the gradient on the red here. If you wanted to go on the stem, you'd be more than welcome to. So let's just zoom. So I'm going to go, I don't know if I like that. Okay. That's what happens when you zoom in later. Too late. I'm going to go, let's get rid of those silly things. Alt. Click pull. I'm going to keep that nice and straight. So now we're going to come over into our nice, wonderful gradients. I'm going to do linear for all of these. Now it's going to be white. White is going to be 20%. And for the black here, I'm just going to leave it red. We're going to drop that down to 0. I'm going to come over to our gradient tool. Just double check that it's going kind of in the direction I want. So depending on where you have this edge will be nice and bright. But what we're really looking for is when it comes over, I don't want this edge showing. So I'm just going to bring this tool over just to double check that it's going to have a nice smooth gradient out. Just add a little something to it. Okay, pen tool. Click, drag. You're going to notice we're doing some click dragging now. Click, drag. I'm going to come through, go right back down. Okay. Now notice I am leaving a little bit of a gap there. That is deliberate. Okay. Gradient tool. So notice that I can change the direction. And really I just want this edge. I don't want anything on that edge. So I just want this little sweep. And I can always adjust where it starts transitioning. This is going to change how long. So notice it just fades right out. So what I'm really looking for is I don't have a harsh, funky edge over here. Okay, pen tool. Let's start up here. I'm going to click Alt. Alt Option, notice, so I'm still holding my mouse, and I just bring that right over. Same thing. Just want to see how subtle I want this. And again, I'm looking for a harsh edge there. Okay, clean still. And it should just give a little something else. Alright, I'm going to go right here on the belly. Click drag. I'm going to come back on that one, hit Alt. I want this nice little S-curve. I'm doing A, by the way. Okay, so notice, always happens on the last one. So notice that this was not locked out. So now I'm doing a gradient over here. So while I still have it, notice that nothing's showing up. All that happened is it's drawing behind everything. So I'm going to arrange, bring to front, and now I can see it. So to be honest, totally doesn't matter. I'm just going to get rid of it here. For the sake of argument, since we're almost done here. Oh, making it too easy. Okay. So at this point, now we're just really just tweaking, all of our little colors. What are we adding? These are way too flat for my liking. Okay, so let's saw, or the knife, and I'm just going to go straight through them. Guess I know it didn't make that sound. Those have some funky shapes to them, don't they? For the sake of argument, I'm not that hating that. So let's just leave that for right now. What I would probably do is add more maroon to the belt, just so it stands out a little bit more. Okay, save check.